don't make sense what the suffering was for. Cause I got out my head and I got in my bag. No time to be crying, there's money to make. I'll do what I gotta, whatever it takes. Cause I'm pushing myself to be one of the great. And my time is right now.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Extreme Lifestyle Living Podcast. Now, today, what I wanted to talk about is something like, I'm really fired up. So I have a lot of energy and I really want to bring that to this episode. I really want you to receive this energy and I really want you to really have a lot of takeaways from what I'm about to say, because what I want to talk about is your willingness to embrace the hard work. And what I mean by that is I want to paint this picture through the perspective of what if you never had an option? What if you had no other option? What if the only thing you had to do was create the life that you deserved and that was all you needed to focus on? And what if that's all you had to focus on and you had no other options? You had no money, no resources, no help, nothing to keep you comfortable. All you had to do was be on this one-track mind to get your life that you deserve. And the reason why I want to paint in this picture and have this ideology with it is because, is a lot of people sit there and have this mis idea of what it is to get their life. And literally the reason why I want to frame it from the perspective of like, what if you had no other option, is because everyone listening to this and everyone that's viewing these episodes or however you're ingesting this episode, every single one of us is guilty of only making change or only doing things when we absolutely need to. And we can literally relate this to everything in our life. Taking the trash out on Tuesdays when it's fucking garbage night. You don't take it out until either late as fuck Monday night or early as hell Tuesday morning, creating animosity. You have schoolwork done. You get your syllabus. Everything's done when your exams are done. But you only do things when you need to, when you know you need to do the work, Same thing with everything else. And unfortunately, this is a huge thing in the fitness industry. It's right? No one's going to get in shape and nobody wants to sit there and take the time to count their macros, learn about nutrition, go to the gym, move their body, work out, gain muscle, and change their lives until they need to. And then all of a sudden they get a health scare. They get something going on where they literally need to change their life from a physical standpoint for their health and their future. And the reason why I want to paint that picture of if you needed to do it is because when your motivation comes from a need and almost I want to say traumatic experience, but when it comes from your back foot in terms of, I don't want to say desperation, but like I'm saying, that's almost what I want you to do is be desperate for your goals and have that mindset, because everyone has this crazy ass idea that whatever their life dreams are they're unachievable, whether it's the fitness goals, whether it's a financial goal, whether it's their freedom goal. I don't know, whatever your goals are that literally get you fucking out of bed and hyped up every single fucking morning, that's what gets you moving. And so many of us on this planet, on this earth, and walk through our lives day to day without understanding that the only thing you need to do is embrace the uncomfortableness of your insecurities and embrace the uncomfortableness of the commitment and the duration it's going to take to get your goals. Those are the only two things you need to create your life. However, a lot of us don't do it unless we fucking need to. And that's why I want to give you guys the perspective of doing it from when you need to, because if you do something when you absolutely fucking need to do it, think of the motivation you get. Think about when that time, you're in junior high, you're in high school, or you're living at home with your parents, your mom or your dad asks you to do something, and then you don't do it until you hear them coming home, or you hear the door open, or you hear something that signs or signifies to you that, you fucked up. Your motivation and your need to get whatever that task is done, you fucking just get it done relentlessly. And that's what I'm talking about is same thing with school projects, same thing with work projects, same thing with career advancements, your fitness goals. We all sit there and wait until we have to absolutely fucking do something before we actually spark change. And that's why I want to give you that perspective in terms of understanding what I'm trying to say in terms of creating the life you want, as I want you to look at it from that viewpoint. Because once you learn how to view it from that viewpoint, you're going to really start to see how easy it is to really change your life. Like I said, it's only two things you need to change your fucking life. That's embracing your uncomfortable insecurities that are going on in your head, your self-doubt, your limiting beliefs, that side of things. And then embracing the uncomfortable journey in the duration of that. And that is really dependable on whatever your journey is. But whatever the duration is of your journey is, anything in this life that's worth having does not happen overnight. So it's going to be a few weeks, a few months, a few years, a few decades even, depending on how lofty your goals are, right? And I think the biggest thing that everyone needs to understand with what I'm trying to say is you can absolutely do whatever the fuck you want with your life. Straight up, any day. There's a conversation I had with somebody the other day because I struggle with my family a lot. I struggle with depression, anxiety, low frequency energy, let's say, because of my past, because of the way I brought up, and because of my own mindset in terms of questioning so many things why did I grow up this way? Why is mom this way? Why is dad this way? Why is grandmother this way? Why is my brother this way? Why are these people that way? Why am I this way? And that paired with traumatic experiences just created a horrible fucking avenue in my mind where I got into a position where I needed to change my life. So now that I'm in a position where like I don't need to do anything, I just do everything because I get to do everything. I want to do everything I'm doing. I want to do this podcast episode. I want to create this content. I want to spread impact. I want to ultimately be the best version of myself. And I still have this baggage, this anchor, this fucking heavy blanket of depression that's just holding me back. And it just reminds me when I have those mental adversities that like I used to do everything off the back end of what I needed to. But I was talking to somebody the other day about this, and I was like, just listen, like I feel like I just really need to like let go of my family. And that's just why I went a little bit long rant about it, was because like I just feel like I need to let go of my family. I'm struggling with the fact that mom operates her life this way. That's what I said. I said, I'm struggling with the fact that mom's operating her life this way. I'm struggling with the fact that, you know, my grandparents are operating this way. I'm struggling with the fact that, you know, this is our life. This is our family dynamic. And ultimately, like, I'm not going to go down to politics of our family dynamic because this is not a therapy session by any means. However, I reached out to a mentor of mine and I said, listen, I know you've been through similar situations. It's like, what did you do and how'd you do it? And this is where it comes into a big revelation where it's like, listen, as simple as this is as loud as it is they're fucking all adults. Every single one of us are fucking adults. Your parents are adults. You're an adult. Everyone you see in a run of a day, depending on what area you're in, you're an adult. If you're 18 and above, you're fucking an adult within a certain degree. You know, there's levels of it, you know, 18 to 21, 21 to 25, 25, 30, exactly, like, you know what I'm saying? But every single one of us is an adult, and we are all fucking responsible for our own goddamn fucking actions. And that's what he pretty much said to me. He was like, listen, I get you're struggling with your family. I get you're struggling with this. I get you're struggling with that. But you guys are all adults. You guys all have the same 24 fucking hours, same 60 seconds, same 60 minutes in the same fucking hour, the same time every single day. You can't hold any space in your mind or your life for anybody in your world, in your life, for them to waste their time. And you hold that for what? You know, not everyone's doing the same amount of work as you. Not everyone's doing the same amount of calculated, like not everyone's growing like you are. Not everyone's fucking grinding like you are. Everyone portrays that they're grinding. Everyone portrays that they're changing their life. Everyone portrays that they're being the best version of themselves, but most of them are fucking lying. And that's what he said to me. He's like, they're all adults, you know? And that simple concept has so much value because, yes, I do struggle with, you know, the way my family operates. I do struggle with the way my grandmother operates. I do struggle with the way my grandfather, my mom, my aunt, my family dynamic operates because, unfortunately, I'm a natural byproduct of who they are, you know? So a lot of my underlining operations and like operating systems of who I am as a person stems from these people, right? So when I got myself into a position where I needed to change my life based on how I was feeling, being in the position I am in now is the reason why I use that analogy of like we're all adults, because we all have the same 24 hours in the same course of a fucking run of a day. And if you're not willing to embrace your insecurities, embrace your self-doubts, and you're not willing to stay the duration of your fucking commitment of whatever your goal is, those are the two simple things that any of us adults can fucking attack, change our lives, inevitably, maybe not to the idea of what we think we want, but it'll give us what we need. And then we'll, again, adapt, pivot, grow again, adapt, pivot, grow again. But none the fucking less, I'm 29 years old. My mom's 40-something, 47. I don't even know how she's old. My grandma, 70-something years old. I can't sit here and feel any type of way about how they use their 24 hours in the run of their lifetime. You see what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm kind of going deep with this and kind of going a long-winded rant about it is because we all struggle with mental health. We all struggle with a little bit of depression, a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of confidence, you know, a little bit of anything. We all fucking struggle on some degree, and that's okay. But a lot of us don't necessarily fucking spark change in our life until something happens where we need to. And that's why I'm trying to break this down to you so you get so much perspective shifts and understand the weight of it. Because people sit there and always admire other people's lives. You know, the grass is always greener. You know, this person always has more money. This person's relationship's always better. This person's always in better shape. This person, whatever it is, if you allow that mindset to seep in, it's always going to be that way. You know, so for me to break it down is just understand we're all fucking adults. Whatever life aspirations you have out there, you just need to be able to be willing to embrace your fucking insecurities, embrace your self-doubts, embrace who you see in the fucking mirror as much as you hate that person, and then embrace the duration of whatever that goal is. You know, when you fucking, in order for us to become adults, we got to go through 12 to 13 years of just schooling before we apply for college and apply for university. Minimum 2-year certificate, minimum 4-year degree. Then that's let alone talk about your master's and talk about your PhD and things like that. We're talking about 18 to 20 years of schooling. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you're not willing to commit to that duration, and deal with those emotions, and you're not going to have X, Y, and Z goal. Same thing with anything else, right? And also with the staring in the mirror portion of it, if you're not willing to embrace your own emotions and understand who you are as a person, then you're never going to change these things. And the reason why I'm going on this crazy ass motherfucking rant about it is because I don't want you to think you have to simply get into a position where you have to change. And that's where you don't want to be. Because when you get into the position where you have to change, everything's going to come from desperation. Everything's going to come from a scarce mindset. You're going to be operating and running your life off of your back foot, which is not going to serve you. And then this is when this becomes, the reason why this is a problem is because you do this for 2 months, 3 months, 2 years, 6 years, whatever. You're going to build up a lifestyle of ultimately creating everything you don't want based on what you need to do. And what I mean by this is literally, like, if you just operate off your back foot and do things when you need to do, you're going to be doing the bare minimum to get yourself into the quality of life just to get okay again. You know, let's use a health example, prime example, right? Let's just say, like, you know, I work with lifestyle clients, my grandparents, my family. Like, a lot of people aren't healthy in my life, right? I've watched them progress to the point where now they're doing the basic necessities just to have a low frequency quality of life where they can barely walk, barely move around, barely do much. And it's like, that's their threshold, right? So if you let yourself get to a position where you operate off your back foot and you need to do things, let's talk about finances, financial stuff as well. Like, all of us want to make more money. All of us want more capabilities for ourselves to go buy luxury things, to spend money on our family. Like, we all want more money. And if you don't think that's real, then you're just lying, unless you already got enough. That's different, but most of us don't. So let's talk about that, you know? Let's say you make $12, $15 an hour, fucking $14, $15 an hour, and you're struggling. And then, like, you know, inflation's here. You know, inflation's coming up faster than the dollar. So now you need to figure out how to make more money. You need to do all these different things. So now everything's coming from a desperate mindset. And then once you find that little bit of wiggle room with finances, whether it's fucking doing Ubers or Uber Eats, I'm not downplaying any of these things, but I'm just letting you know the quality of life you're creating off the back foot of needing things, right? So then you're doing everything off of a back foot of needing things, and you increase your water line threshold just enough where you can feel like you're breathing again, and you feel like you're good. And then it's like, that's still not the quality like you deserve. You know, that's only what you needed in that time. And that's just going to be a repetitive process you're stuck in. And then that's when you create, like, you know, midlife crises and stuff like that, because you're spinning your tires for years on end, doing the same repetitive processes, moving the needle marker fucking marginally, not even getting that much success. But if you can understand with what I'm saying and about the other two sides of it, like, literally, if you seriously can look in the fucking mirror and embrace your insecurities, embrace your self-doubts, embrace how you actually feel about yourself. Do you think you're fat? Do you think you're skinny? Do you think your love handles are trash? Do you think you don't have abs? Do you think your chest looks funny? Do you think your shoulders look funny? Do you think you look funny? Do you think your face looks funny? Do you think your hair, whatever it is, if you actually don't have that part of your mind open up, you're never going to have the life you fucking deserve, because you got to be honest with yourself. And it's not about shaming. It's not about criticizing. It's about an honest eye looking at yourself from a genuine standpoint, being like, listen, am I happy with what I want? And when I was 21 years old, I was not fucking happy. And I was willing to embrace any emotion, because the only other emotion that I was going to embrace if I didn't do this was ultimately suicide. And that might be too much information for some of you guys, but this is what I'm saying. If you get yourself to a position where you're doing things off the back foot of what you need, you're never going to see the success you fucking deserve or you want. You know? So if you can understand the simplicity of what I'm saying here about looking in the fucking mirror and just really embracing who you see down to the fucking core, you will be able to reverse engineer that backwards into a position where you get yourself onto a steady, stable foundation where you're mentally happy with at least what's going on, and you have faith that, you know, tomorrow's going to be better, because you can look in the mirror. Okay, let's say I don't like my shoulders, they're too small. You can create a workout plan or get a coach to help you capitalize on creating a different physique. Same thing with all kinds of other goals. You're financial, you get a mentor, you can go to school, get education, whatever it is. But it's like, when you embrace it, you get clarity, you get vision, you get hope, you get faith, you get abundance, and you allow yourself to open up your mind to that next level of life. And the second thing is, depending on what your goal is, like if you want to lose 5 pounds, maybe a month. That's your duration. You got to commit to a fucking month. If you can't sit down for a month and commit to your nutrition, your movement, and goals, you're not going to lose the 5 pounds. Fuck off. Same thing if you want to go to school and get your master's. If you're not willing to embrace the fucking 4 years of you going to school, but you're going to bitch and moan about going to school and doing all these different things, then that's on you. Shut the fuck up. You can't embrace it. That's on you. That's what I'm saying. It's the simplest what I'm saying about these two principles are as valuable as what they are, because you could take these into your life, and it's the two same principles with everything. I want to go and compete next year, do 2 shows. I have 2 things I gotta look at. One, am I looking in the mirror? I know what I got to look like, what I got to peak, and what I got to perform like. Am I at that standard right now? No. So I got to look at myself very fucking honest and be like, no, that's not who I am. And then my duration, is literally 9 to 12 months. Am I willing to embrace every single fucking day of every waking second to capitalize on this? And it's fuck yes. And then that's when it brings it all back to we all have the same 24 hours. So it doesn't necessarily matter what you fucking do. But it's just if you understand that you're operating on the back foot of what you need in your life, your standards are not going to be where you want them to be. However, if you can just embrace these two perspective shifts of embracing your fucking insecurities and your self-doubts of who you see in the mirror, and then embrace the commitment to the duration of whatever length your goal fucking needs. So if it's 3 months, 6 months, fucking commit. If it's a year, commit. If it's 10 years, commit. But that's, again, that's a whole different rant about having different micronized goals in between every other goal to make sure you're staying on pace with everything. But that's all I got for today. A long-winded rant. I told you I had a lot of energy. I definitely went on a couple rants sideways, left field, right field, and just shared some stuff with the family. But I really want you guys to understand that don't wait for life to tell you what you need to do to get you where you think you got to be to get a certain quality of life. Stand up tall, put your first foot forward, look in the fucking mirror, allow you to tell you what you don't fucking like, and then embrace the journey of fucking committing and making that change for yourself. Let's fucking get it.
Who's on my side, I don't know anymore. Cause it's more than a battle, we going to war. And losing again, I just cannot afford. I think it's my time to go even the score. What you see on the surface attached to my core. I'm stacking my paper, but feeling for more. One hell of a ride, but I'm staying on board. And now it makes sense what the suffering was for. Cause I got out my head and I got in my bag. No time to be crying, this money